Tonight, Star Trek Day shows, a new old Star Wars game. What if Son of Zorn got a second season? And we remember Terry Funk, Bray Wyatt, Bob Barker, and Arlene Sorkin. All that and more in this edition of Multiverse Tonight.
Comic books, sci-fi, fantasy, and more. If you're looking for a roundup of geeky news, you're in the right place. This is Multiverse Tonight. And here's your host, Thomas Townley.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 196 of Multiverse Tonight, your source for, of course, the news that you can find these days, still with the strikes going on, and it's you know still doesn't seem to be getting better out there. Um, well, I guess so you can start off by telling you what I did this past weekend. My wife and I, my lovely lady wife and I, went out to Wichita for the ICT Comic Con. It's one of those small regional Comic Cons. Basically it's all one big room, and you know, there's about 2 hours worth of milling around. So like, but I did get two things. I got Denise Crosby's autograph, Tashiar from, of course, Next Generation, and Barry Bostwick from, of course, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and lots of other stuff. Spin City. Um, and Denise Crosby, she was excellent. We had several minutes to talk to her because there was no rush. There's no, that's one of those nice things about small cons like this is that there's usually, no big lines. So you're more than welcome to stand there and just chat for a few minutes, before someone else comes up. Barry Bostwick, on the other hand, he was kind of like, "Oh, thank you," signed his name. You know, he was selling clocks that he made. He was also selling voice recordings. I didn't get one of those. He wanted way too much for a voice recording, but otherwise that it was a nice time. We also saw, of course, our pal Rick Stacy, and his wife was there too, selling stuff. So now, if you want to hear more from Rick, of course, head on one entry above this episode. Our last bonus episode for the spinner rack just came out, and we're probably doing another one here in about a month. But other than that, let's start by talking a little box office news. Well, starting, of course, with number 10, A Haunted Mansion, which fell from number 8 to number 10. The Hill, which debuts at number 9. Retribution, the new Liam Neeson, you know, Taken type movie, started at number 8. It's not really hitting home, is it? Strays fell from number 5 to number 7. The Meg 2, The Trench, stays at number 6. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem fell from number 4 to number 5. Oppenheimer fell from number 3 to number 4. Blue Beetle, which debuted at number 1 last week, fell to number 3 this week. So far, its domestic gross is $46.3 million. That's respectable. Barbie stays at number 2 with a domestic gross of $594.8 million. Now, worldwide, it's made $340 billion. So, excellent for Barbie. But number 1 this week was another based on a video game sort of movie, Gran Turismo, which is the story about a kid who's good at the Gran Turismo game who gets his shot at actually racing the cars. Debuted at number one with $17.3 million. Now let's get in to the Star Trek news. And Star Trek news begins with Star Trek Day, which arrives on September 8th, of course. That's the day that the first original series episode debuted on September 8th, 1966. Fans worldwide will be able to watch a special Star Trek Day program hosted by Star Trek Lower Decks Jerry O'Connell. The show will be a salute to the Trek franchise as a whole. It will include segments looking back at memorable moments from the past 57 years, commemorating 50 years of Star Trek animation, pay tribute to Star Trek Discovery in its final season, and offer a sneak peek at the upcoming fourth season of Lower Decks, as well as commemorating other memorable moments from the Star Trek legacy. The special will be available to watch for free globally at StarTrek.com/day, also YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and in the US, the special will be able to stream on Paramount Plus, Pluto TV, Mixable, and special and select local CBS affiliates, Comedy Central, Paramount Network, Pop TV, Fave TV, and Smithsonian.com. Also on CBS, the first two episodes of Paramount Plus's hit original series Star Trek Strange New Worlds will air that night starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Pacific. And also, fans can go to shop.startrek.com and use the code StarTrekDay to save 25% site wide. And that's all we have for the Star Trek news. Let's go to Star Wars news.
Roger, Roger.
Star Wars news begins with Life Day, which is coming to Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures. The announcement on StarWars.com announced, quote, "Our favorite younglings and their friends will return with new episodes of Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures, arriving November 8th on Disney Junior and Disney+. Among the upcoming installments is a Life Day special, which finds series stars Kia, Liz, and Nubs, along with Masters Yoda and Zia, on a trip to Kashyyyk to celebrate and learn more about the Wookiee holiday traditions. In addition, even more episodes of Young Jedi Adventures Season 1 are confirmed for 2024. Night Dive Studios, who recently remastered classic first-person games System Shock and Quake 2, is doing the same to another first-person legend, Star Wars Dark Forces, which is in development for all major platforms, PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and even Nintendo Switch. The single-player only Star Trek first-person shooter was first released in 1995 for PC and was the first adventure for players as Kyle Katarn, who would go on to become a Jedi in Jedi Knight and its sequels. You don't ever even get your hands on the lightsaber in Dark Forces, but it's remembered fondly for its memorable missions and challenging boss fights. The remaster cleans up the 28-year-old Dark Forces gameplay and cutscenes, similar to how Night Dive approached the recent Quake 2 remaster with its in-house Kex engine, thus allowing modern controls and features like 4K resolution, widescreen support, and 60 FPS. Night Dive's Larry Kupperman told IGN that the Dark Forces remaster will be popularly priced, which he suggested would mean somewhere between $20 to $30. And while Dark Forces was the first Star Wars first-person shooter, the latest Star Wars first-person shooter, of which nothing is known, though it's unlikely to have any connection to Dark Forces, is in development at Respawn Entertainment, makers of the excellent Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and the outstanding Star Wars Jedi Survivor show, or Survivor game, excuse me. Let's go on to the Marvel news. And we begin Marvel news with a new set of what ifs that are coming soon. This time, 50 years after Wolfman and artist Gene Colan created the half-human, half-vampire Daywalker in 1973's Tomb of Dracula number 10, the legendary writer will ask the question, what if the Lord of Vampires sunk his teeth into Eric Brooks, cursing him with eternal bloodlust? In celebration of Blade's milestone adventure and anniversary, Wolfman and artist David Cutler are teaming up for the one-shot What If Dark Tomb of Dracula number 1 this November. Wolfman said in a statement about the horror comic that pits the Prince of Darkness against vampire hunters and supernatural threats alike, quote, in 1972, I was a fledgling comics writer who wrote mostly short 2 to 8 page monster stories when editor Roy Thomas asked if I'd like to write Tomb of Dracula, my very first series for Marvel, and the book that would jumpstart my career. So it's a real thrill now that 50 plus years later, Marvel asked me to once again dive into that pool with this very special what if story and to bring back that great cast of characters that Gene Colan and I created so many years ago. Thank you, Marvel, for giving me the chance to play with old friends one last time. Their first meeting will unfold differently in What If Jark Tomb of Dracula #1 on sale November 8th from Marvel Comics. Now let's go to the DC Comics news. And DC Comics news begins with Warner Brothers Home Entertainment, which is uniting Zack Snyder's DC trilogy, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, and the Snyder Cut of the Justice League in the ultimate collector's set. All three films are being re-released and repackaged in a new 4K box set, while Zack Snyder's Justice League will be made available as a new 4K steelbook. The 8-disc Zack Snyder's Justice League trilogy set is a slimmed-down re-release of the 2021 version, the first time that Warner Brothers made the trilogy yours to own in a complete set, which collected Snyder's director's cut of Justice League after its streaming premiere on formerly HBO Max, now Max. Besides new artwork, the 2023 re-release features the same content as the previous version, but without the 10-piece collectible art cards and prints included in the 2021 release. Both box sets include 4K Ultra HD and Blu-ray versions of Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Edition, and Zack Snyder's Justice League. Also, Warner Brothers Home Entertainment has announced that Max's fan favorite series Titans will release its fourth and final season on DVD and Blu-ray on October 17th. The gritty take on DC Comics' Teen Titans franchise, Titans follows a group of young superheroes from the DC universe as they come of age and try to find where they belong. The Titans must defend against supervillains, dark conspiracies, corrupt laboratories, and demonic possessions across Metropolis and beyond. Also available on October 17th will be Titans, the complete series on Blu-ray and DVD, which includes all 4 seasons of the show in one box set. Titans, the fourth and final season, and Titans, the complete series, will be available on Blu-ray and DVD to purchase online and in-store at major retailers on October 17th, 2023. Now let's go on to the geek news. And we start with geek news with something that's close to my heart. Son of Zorn. If you don't remember, this was an interesting experiment in adult animated comedy back in the 2010s. The series got one season, 13 episodes, which aired on Fox between September of 2016 and February of 2017. But the show creators always intended that there be more, of course. Eric Apple is now a successful comedic director with films like Weird, the Al Yankovic story, and TV series like Apple TV's The After Party under his belt. However, Appel also had a major influence on Son of Zorn, directing half of the 13 episodes. While on a recent press junket, Eric Appel revealed what Son of Zorn Season 2 would have looked like. Quote, well, let's see. So Zorn got kidnapped at the end of the first season by Lord Volchazer. We had talked about maybe the first episode of Season 2 would have been like Eddie and Craig having to go to Safaria. It would have brought the humans to the cartoon world more. They would have had to rescue Zorn from there and bring him back. And I know there was some talk of Volchazer also moving to Orange County and running for government. So Zorn's like the villain from his TV world and ends up becoming like the mayor of Orange County, unquote. Now, the end of Son of Zorn indeed saw the He-Man-like hero voiced by Jason Sudeikis getting captured by his nemesis Lord Volchazer, even as the staff that the villain was after got sold in Zorn's yard sale. Meanwhile, his ex-wife Edie, played by Cheryl Hines, got ready to marry her fiance Craig, played by Tim Meadows, while the actual son of Zorn, Alan, played by Johnny Pemberton, found out he was pregnant. You can currently watch Son of Zorn Season 1 on Hulu. And if you'd like to know my thoughts on Son of Zorn, head on over to sci-fi4me.com. I reviewed the show for them back when it was on. You know, so you can see some of my early writings. The first two seasons of the original animated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon are coming to Paramount Plus starting September 19th. Hopefully, the other seasons will follow suit in the near future. The first season of the series will only consisted of 5 episodes, while season 2 was just 13 episodes. That means that you'll get 18 episodes of the 193 episode series on Paramount Plus. So, you know, I always enjoyed that cartoon when I was a kid. That was one of my favorite cartoons to watch. So, you know, go check it out. It's a really good show. Zack Snyder's new Star Wars-like sci-fi creation Rebel Moon now has titles and a release date. Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire, which has a release date of December 22nd, and Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scar Giver, has a release date of April 19th, 2024. Now, so far, Rebel Moon has an established timeline that extends beyond the two films, a 450-page Bible of in-universe canon that can be spun off into sequels, TV series, and an already announced video game. In fact, Snyder previously revealed that the series won't even get to the titular Rebel Moon until somewhere around the third movie. Snyder explained, quote, "The title was conceptual, but there's a planet named Vanna, and Vanna is the Rebel Moon. Oh. It's not even in one shot of this movie." Wait a minute, I gotta stop there. Vanna's a planet, but it's the Rebel Moon? Which is it, Zach? A moon or a planet? Pick one. Rebel Moon stars Sophia Boutella, Ray Fisher, Charlie Hunnam, Jijman Hunsao, Jenna Malone, Anthony Hopkins, Ed Skirrin, Carrie Elways, Corey Stoll, Mikkel Husman, Bay Donna, Alfonso Herrera, and more. The Mandalorian, WandaVision, and Loki will arrive on Blu-ray and 4K UHD later this year, marking the first time Disney Plus original series are getting a physical release. The first season of Loki will become available on September 26th, WandaVision on November 28th, and the first two seasons of The Mandalorian on December 12th. The physical releases will come in both a collector's edition 4K UHD and Blu-ray disc, encased in Lux Steelbook packaging with collectible concept art cards and brand new box art designed by artist Attila Scarza. The physical editions will also feature never-before-seen special features. Loki is the only title whose special features have been announced so far, and those include designing the TVA with production designer Kasara Farhani and Tom Hiddleston, with a look at Season 2, and the Miss Minutes TVA orientation video, as well as deleted scenes, a gag reel, and the assembled documentary. Loki, which was the third Marvel Studios Disney Plus series after WandaVision and The Falcon and Winter Soldier, stars Hiddleston as the God of Mischief, who died at the beginning of Avengers Infinity War. The series was the first to introduce the MCU Multiverse and also became the first Marvel Disney Plus series to get renewed for a second season, which arrives on October 6th. Although WandaVision has not received a second season, that series is one of its popular offshoots. All 4 titles will be available for pre-order starting today. Actress Barbara Bain, star of the British sci-fi series Space 1999, is preparing to board an upcoming documentary about the Eagle, the famed spacecraft at the heart of the show that ran from 1975 to 1977. Bain will appear in The Eagle Has Landed alongside several other notable figures: Apollo 16 astronaut Charles Duke Jr., Academy Award-winning visual effects artist Bill George, and Brian Johnson, the VFX artist on Space 1999, whose work is said to have influenced Star Wars. The film is being directed and produced by Jeffrey Morris, who also hosts the documentary. The Eagles Landed explores the cross-generational impact of the iconic vessel. In the series, it also starred Martin Landau. According to the press release, the film showcases never-before-seen archival footage and will be released in time for the 50th anniversary of Space 1999's debut in 2025. Space 1999 appeared on TV a few short years after the world watched Neil Armstrong take the first steps on the moon. Morris noted in a statement, the show's unforgettable eagle inspired a generation to envision a future in space and still does so for decades later. The question we explore is why? What is it about this imaginary craft that has captured and held imaginations for nearly 50 years? Space 1999 ran a total of 48 episodes with Bain and Landau and all of them has respectively Dr. Helena Russell and Commander John Koenig. The actors were married to each other at the time. The show revolved around the dozens of Moonbase Alpha, a scientific research station living on the moon whose existence is threatened when a nuclear explosion rockets the moon out of Earth's orbit. Ian McShane, Joan Collins, and Leo McKern appeared in single episodes. Warner Brother Pictures' new Willy Wonka prequel, Wonka, is headed into theaters on December 15th, and to get ready for that new movie, new Wonka candy is making a return. The iconic brand announced that it is returning in celebration of the upcoming film with a brand new limited edition Wonka Magic Hat Gummy candy. The new candy will be made available at Walmart stores beginning September 1st and will roll out to other retailers nationwide on September 28th. According to the brand, Wonka Magic Hat Gummies are a fun, imaginative treat that allows fans to become part of the delicious and magical world of Willy Wonka. Each pack of gummies includes an assortment of top hat shaped gummies that come in 4 fruity flavor combinations: strawberry watermelon, raspberry grape, orange strawberry, and magic berries. Each gummy also includes a sweet magical surprise with each fruity bite. In addition to the return of Wonka candy with the Wonka Magic Hat gummies, each purchase will see fans receive $5 in movie rewards to see Wonka in person and have the chance to win a Warner Bros. Studio Hollywood Deluxe Tour for 4, among other prizes, as part of the Dream It and Do It sweepstakes. Fans just need to text Wonka to the code located on the backs of Wonka Magic Hat gummies to enter to win. So they don't need a golden ticket. On Thursday, Warner Brothers Pictures announced that Dune Part 2 has been delayed to March 14th, 2024. The highly anticipated sequel was initially intended for debut on November 3rd, but those plans have been the subject of speculation amid the ongoing writers and actors strike, which would mean that the ensemble cast would not be able to promote the movie. Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire, which was originally set for that March date, will now be released on April 12th. And while we're talking about things moving, New Line's new animated movie, The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, is moving from its April 12th, 24 date to December 13th next year. The anime feature, directed by Kenji Kamiyama, is set 183 years before the events chronicled in the original New Line Lord of the Rings trilogy. The Peter Jackson movies, in addition to his Hobbit trilogy, have always played the December year-end Hollywood period. The movie centers around the fate of the House of Helm Hammerhand, the mighty king of Rohan, a character from the J.R.R. Tolkien's book Appendix. Succession actor Cox will provide the voice for that protagonist. Here's what the film covers: a sudden attack by Wolf, a clever and ruthless Dunlending lord seeking vengeance for the death of his father, forces Helm and his people to make a daring last stand in the ancient stronghold of the Hornburg, a mighty fortress that will later come to be known as Helm's Deep. Finding herself in an increasingly difficult situation, Hera, the daughter of Helm, must summon the will to lead the resistance against a deadly enemy intent on their total destruction. The voice cast includes Brian Cox, Gia Wise, Miranda Otto, Lorraine Ashbourne, Yadzin Aforo, and many others. So, again, the strike having its effects on Hollywood. Kevin Smith's next stop in the View Askewniverse will be a reteam with Dark Horse Comics in the comic book series sequel Quick Stops 2. The black and white 4-issue anthology series will explore the origin story of character Nancy Goldruff, first mentioned in Smith's 1999 movie Dogma as creator of a kids' film and TV series called Mubi and the bovine franchise she spawned. Smith told us, quote, "In Quick Stops 1, we visited 4 small stories in the Askewniverse, So for Quick Stops 2, we did issues of a massive story that spans a few decades to tell the story of Movie, The Golden Calf, and where that salacious story takes us is gritty, graphic, and grotesquely grown up. I cannot wait to introduce you to Nancy Goldruff, who warranted merely a mention in 1999's Dogma, but gets a full-fledged secret origin in story in Quick Stops 2. Unquote. Joining Smith is Ahmad Rafat as series artist and Andrew Thomas as letterer. The series is due to set out on November 22nd, 2023. And right now, Kevin Smith is currently in pre-production on Netflix's TV series Masters of the Universe Revolution. So that sounds interesting. You know, filling in backstories is always good. But let's close on some sad news. Starting off, Terry Funk, the Hall of Fame professional wrestler whose hardcore fighting style inspired decades of bloody brawls and entertaining matches, died in a hospital near Phoenix. He was 79 years old. His death was announced this past Wednesday by World Wrestling Entertainment, the company for that his career exploded in the 80s. The announcement, of course, did not cite the cause. Funk's wrestling career, which began in the mid 1960s and lasted 4 decades, took him around the world and the country, from playing in front of sold out WWE crowds to entertaining fans in the growing Japanese market with All Japan Pro Wrestling. He quickly became known as a fierce wrestler who wielded improvised weapons against his opponents, including chairs and ladders, barbed wire bats, tra- trash cans, and fire. In a sport built on performer athletes who play exaggerated or downright invented versions of themselves, the extreme quality of Funk's matches made him one of the most celebrated wrestlers of his generation. Many of his highlight reels show him a bloodied mess, his long wet hair slicked back, and his face bleeding from some kind of punch, kick, or chair shot. He did not have the chiseled six-pack build typically expected of a professional wrestler, but his frame was wide with grappling of opponents precise, and he displayed a barbaric creativity inside the ring that earned him the respect of his peers. Ric Flair, a retired professional wrestler known for flash outfits and extravagant lifestyles, said on Wednesday on Twitter, the platform formerly known as X, formerly known as Twitter, that he had never met a guy who had worked harder than Funk. Mick Foley, who also wrestled Funk, said on Facebook that he was the greatest wrestler he had ever worked with. Terrence Funk was born on June 30th, 1944, in Hammond, Indiana. According to the book Pro Wrestling Fact, All That's Left to Know About the World's Most Entertaining Spectacle by Brian Solomon. His father, Dory Funk Sr., was also a wrestler. After Dory Sr. finished his tour of duty in the South Pacific during World War II, his family relocated to Texas, where the elder Funk became a well known wrestler and promoter. It was in Texas that Terry Funk's familiarity with the sport deepened, as did his love for it. He made his debut in his father's wrestling company in 1965. By 1985, he had reached the World Wrestling Federation. At WrestleMania 2 the next year, he and his brother, Dory Funk Jr., defeated Tito Santana and the Junkyard Dog in a tag team match. In 1989, Funk would move to rival WCW, for which he would have one of the most acclaimed matches of his career against Ric Flair. The 20-minute contest was an I Quit match in which both men would scuffle and fight until one man surrendered. The match, now regarded as an instant classic, was a showcase for the brutal realism that drew fans to pro wrestling, in which the winner of the match was determined in advance. Now, there were chest slaps from Flair, headlocks by Funk, tosses out of the ring, wrestling along the sidelines, hair yanks, repeated shrieks from both wrestlers, "Want to quit?" Finally, when Flair wound Funk into a figure four leg lock, Funk, his face contorted in pain, said the words that prompted the match bell to ring, "I quit." In 2000, when he was in his mid 50s, Funk returned to WCW, winning the United States Championship and the WCW Hardcore title belts. He had his final WWE match in 2006. And in 2009, he and his brother Dory Funk Jr. were inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Funk also took his menacing image to Hollywood. In 1989, he played a bouncer in the film Roadhouse, which starred Patrick Swayze. He had earlier played the intimidating character Frankie the Thumper in Paradise Alley, a 1978 wrestling drama starring Sylvester Stallone. Frank married Vicki Weaver in 1964. She passed away in 2019. He is survived by his brother and his two daughters, Stacy and Brandy, and their three grandchildren. Now, this next one was kind of sudden. WWE wrestler Bray Wyatt passed away this past week. The beloved wrestler, known for his role as the leader of the Wyatt family and the Fiend, died at the age of 36 after suffering a heart attack. The death of Wyatt, whose real name was Wyndham Rotunda, was announced on Friday by WWE Chief Content Officer and former WWE superstar Paul Triple H Levesque on his official Twitter account. Wyatt hadn't been seen on WWE programming since his final match against LA Knight in the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match at the Royal Rumble this past January. At the time, Fightful Select reported that Wyatt took some time away to recover from a career and life-threatening illness. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select revealed on Twitter that the reason Wyatt was sidelined was due to his contracting COVID, which reportedly exacerbated his heart issues. The third-generation wrestler first debuted in WWE in 2010 as Husky Harris before being repackaged as the cultist leader of the Wyatt family in 2013 alongside Eric Rowan and the late Luke Harper. Wyatt would later headline WrestleMania in a match against The Undertaker, win the WWE Tag Team Championships, and become the WWE World Heavyweight and Universal Champion. Toward the end of his career, Wyatt took the WWE Universe by storm with the debut of his new character, The Fiend, an amalgamation of a Blue's Clues-esque TV host and a Freddy Krueger-like horror villain. He became a three-time world champion in WWE, holding the WWE Championship once and the Universal Championship twice, and also held the SmackDown Tag Team Championship with Luke Harper and Randy Orton under the Freebird rule, and the Raw Tag Team Championship with Matt Hardy once. Rotunda and his ex-wife Samantha married in 2012 and had two daughters there together before she filed for divorce in 2017. Rotunda then and WWE announcer JoJo were revealed to be together during this time. They later had a son, born May 2019, whose godfather is Braun Strowman, and a daughter born May 2020. They became engaged in 2022. Again, our heart goes out to JoJo and all of the WWE and wrestling family. Next, Bob Barker, the longtime host of the television game show The Price is Right, has died. According to his publicist, he was 99 years old and died as home a few months shy of his 100th birthday. In a statement, publicist Rick Neal said, quote, "It was with profound sadness that we announced that the world's greatest MC who ever lived, Bob Barker, has left us." Unquote. No cause was given. The Price is Right franchise began in 1956 as a television game show hosted by Bill Cullen, but was revamped in 1972 when Barker became the host. The game show had already been canceled by two networks before finding a home at CBS in 1972. Barker's charm helped revive the sagging show, and it continues to air to this day under host Drew Carey, who started on the show in 2007. Born Robert William Barker in Darrington, Washington on December 12, 1923, at the age of 6, he moved to the Sioux Indian Reservation in Mission, South Dakota with his mother after his father died in a workplace accident. He landed his first game show in 1956 with NBC's Truth or Consequences and hosted that show for 18 years until it went off the air. After he transitioned to The Price is Right, which became the longest-running daytime game show in TV history in 1990, he stayed at that post until his retirement. And beyond game shows, Barker also applied his MC skills to pageants. In 1967, he began a 20-year run as MC of the Miss Universe and Miss America pageants, and in 1969, he had a similarly long-lasting run as the host of the New Year's Day tournament of Roses Parade. Barker was given a Lifetime Achievement Emmy Award and also had cameos in 1996's film Happy Gilmore, in which he beat up Adam Sandler's character on the golf course. He was a longtime animal rights activist, ending each episode of The Price is Right with the plea, "Help control the pet population, have your pet spay or neutered." Barker's wife, his high school sweetheart Dorothy Jo Gideon, died in 1981. They married in 1945. Again, Bob Barker was 99 years old. And finally tonight, Arlene Sorkin, the original voice of Harley Quinn from Batman the Animated Series and Days of Our Lives actor, died on Saturday. She was 67 years old. DC Studios CEO James Gunn shared the news of Sorkin's death in a post on Instagram. Quote, "Rest in peace, Arlene Sorkin, the incredibly talented original voice of Harley Quinn, who helped to create the character so many of us love. Love to her family and friends." Unquote. Sorkin began her career in the entertainment industry by working in a comedy troupe and as a cabaret performer in the 70s and 80s, landing the role of Calliope Jones in 1984 on Days of Our Lives. Now, Sorkin's performance on Days of Our Lives scored her 2 Emmy nominations for Outstanding Supporting Actress in in a drama series in 1988 and 1989, and she would hold a permanent role in Days from 1984 to 1990, subsequently returning for guest shots in 1992, 2006, and 2010. She voiced Harley Quinn in the 1992 episode of Batman the Animated Series entitled Joker's Favor, which was intended to be a one-episode character. However, Sorkin would continue to voice the character across projects including Superman the Animated Series, The New Batman Adventures, Gotham Girls, Static Shock, Justice League, Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker, and the Batman-Superman movie The World's Finest. Aside from acting, Sorkin also served as writer and producer on How to Marry a Billionaire and Fired Up, and she co-wrote Picture Perfect in 1997 and 2 episodes of Tiny Toon Adventures. Mark Hamill, the Joker actor who often starred alongside Sorkin, offered his condolences on X Twitter. Quote, "Devastated to learn we've lost the brilliant Arlene Sorkin. Not just a wonderful talent, but a truly wonderful person. I'm grateful not only to have worked with her, but to have been her friend, sending my heartfelt condolences to her family and loved ones. She is survived by her actor, Christopher Lloyd, not her husband, Christopher Lloyd, not the actor, and her 2 children, Eli and Owen." Again, she was just 67 years old. And that brings us to the end of this edition. Now, be sure to check us out on social media. We're at Twitter at Multiverse Tom. We're also on Facebook and Instagram as well as Threads and as on Multiverse Tonight. And if you found value in the show, if you want to criticize me for rambling or whatever, check out the show notes, visit the TeePublic store, so much more. Head on over to multiversetonight.com. If you're a subscriber, be sure to share us with your friends. And if you're brand new to the show, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, leave some feedback. Let me know how we're doing. Special thanks to Shane Ivers for the intro music and Lobo Loco for the outro theme music. Thanks for watching this edition of Multiverse Tonight. We'll be back in 2 weeks with more sci-fi and comic book news. And watch this feed for another edition of the Spinner Rack coming soon. Now please exit the universe in an orderly fashion. Good night. Multiverse Tonight is a production of Half-Baked Genre Productions. Copyright 2023. All rights reserved. This podcast is part of the Pop Goes the Culture podcast network. Find more about our other podcasts at popgoestheculture.com.